Be me, 26-year-old loser working in a print shop. Wake up every morning dreading another day of Vanessa's bullshit. She's been my girlfriend for 2 years and somehow made me feel like a complete failure at everything. This morning, she watches me make coffee and shakes her head disapprovingly. Tells me I'm stirring it wrong and making too much noise with the spoon. Apparently, there's a correct way to stir coffee, and I've been doing it wrong for 26 years. She demonstrates the proper technique like I'm some kind of child. Whatever, just nod and pretend to care about coffee stirring methodology. Get dressed for work, and she critiques my shirt choice. Says the color doesn't match my complexion and makes me look washed out. Suggests I wear the blue one instead because it brings out my eyes. Change shirts to avoid another lecture about personal presentation. She nods approvingly, like she just solved world hunger. Grab my keys and head out feeling defeated before the day even starts. Work at the print shop isn't glamorous, but it pays rent. Spend 8 hours running machines that print wedding invitations for people who probably won't last 2 years. Also do business cards, flyers, funeral programs, random stuff people need printed. Co-worker Sarah always complains about her boyfriend not making enough money. Keeps saying he needs to get his act together and find a real career. Starting to think all women have the same script about their loser boyfriends. Come home around 6:30 after stopping for groceries. Vanessa's waiting at the kitchen table with her laptop open, showing me apartment listings in neighborhoods we definitely can't afford. Says her sister's boyfriend just put an offer on a house in the suburbs. Therefore, I should be looking at buying property within the next 6 months. Tell her print shop wages don't exactly cover down payments on anything decent. She rolls her eyes and says that's exactly the problem with my defeatist attitude. Apparently, I lack vision and ambition for our future together. Try explaining that saving for a house takes time when you make $12 an hour. She interrupts to say that's why I need to find better employment. Pulls up job listings for sales positions and management trainee programs. Says these are the kinds of opportunities I should be pursuing instead of being comfortable with mediocrity. Look at requirements, and they all want college degrees or 5 years experience. Mention this obvious obstacle, and she sighs like I'm making excuses again. Tells me education is something I could pursue if I really wanted to improve myself. Next morning, she critiques how I cut bread for toast. Says I'm slicing it unevenly, and it shows lack of attention to detail in everything I do. Demonstrates proper bread cutting technique with precise measurements. Stare at the bread wondering if this is really what my life has become. Getting performance reviews on breakfast preparation from my own girlfriend. Eat toast in silence while she explains how successful people approach simple tasks with intentionality. Go to work, feeling like I already failed some kind of test before 9 a.m. Spend day printing baby shower invitations and trying not to think about domestic life. Customer comes in wanting copies of his divorce papers. Tells me his ex-wife used to criticize everything he did until he couldn't take it anymore. Says freedom feels better than walking on eggshells every day. Nods sympathetically while running his copies. Things escalate over the following weeks. Vanessa starts leaving detailed notes around the apartment. Instructions for proper laundry folding with diagrams showing optimal techniques. Guidelines for dishwasher loading that maximize space efficiency. Schedule for household cleaning tasks with time estimates for completion. Feels like living with a very attractive but tyrannical roommate who happens to sleep in my bed. Try talking to her one evening about maybe relaxing some of these standards. Suggest we're both stressed and could benefit from being easier on each other. She responds by saying I'm being defensive and refusing to acknowledge areas where I could grow. Tells me healthy relationships require both people to constantly work on self-improvement. Asks if I want to be mediocre forever or if I'm willing to put in effort to become better. Realize there's no right answer to questions phrased like that. Agree to try harder just to end the conversation. Weekend arrives, and she announces we're going to her sister's birthday party. Spends 45 minutes explaining how I should dress and what topics to avoid discussing. Apparently mentioning my job is off limits because it reflects poorly on her social status. Also can't tell any of my usual stories because they're embarrassing and make me sound immature. Ask what I'm supposed to talk about if work and personal anecdotes are forbidden. She says I should mostly listen and ask thoughtful questions about other people's careers. Feel like being hired as a professional nodder for her family gatherings. Party is exactly as horrible as anticipated. Spend 3 hours smiling and nodding while her relatives discuss vacation homes and investment portfolios. Her sister's husband keeps talking about his recent promotion at some tech company. Vanessa glances at me during these conversations with barely concealed disappointment. Like I'm personally responsible for not being a software engineer making 6 figures. Her cousin asks what I do for work, and I mumble something about printing services. Conversation immediately shifts to someone else's more impressive career trajectory. Drive home in complete silence until she begins debriefing everything I did wrong. Apparently, I laughed too loudly at her uncle's joke about millennials. Also, my handshake wasn't firm enough when meeting new people. Suggests we practice proper introduction techniques at home so I won't embarrass her again. Wonder if this is what military boot camp feels like, except with better food and comfortable beds. Work becomes my only sanctuary from constant evaluation. Customers come in with straightforward requests that have clear solutions. Make 50 copies of this document, print business cards on glossy stock, enlarge this photo. Refreshing change from trying to decode hidden meanings in every interaction. No performance metrics for operating copy machines or calculating printing costs. Just do the job competently, and people pay money and leave satisfied. Breaking point arrives on some random Tuesday in October. Remember? Because leaves were changing colors and weather was getting cold. Come home completely soaked from unexpected rain because my cheap umbrella broke. Vanessa's in kitchen preparing dinner while watching cooking show on tablet. Tell her about my frustrating day and how the main printer jammed 6 times in a row. She listens for maybe 20 seconds before interrupting with audible sigh. Says listening to me complain about work every day is emotionally exhausting for her. Suggests I find employment that doesn't make me so perpetually negative and bitter. Mentions her friend's boyfriend again who works in digital marketing and loves his job. Apparently, successful people don't whine constantly about minor workplace inconveniences. Something inside my brain finally reaches maximum capacity and just snaps completely. Tell her I'm tired of being treated like some kind of failed science experiment. Say relationships aren't supposed to feel like constant job interviews where I'm always underperforming. She gets defensive and starts listing all the ways she's tried to help me become better. Argues that wanting your partner to reach their potential is normal and healthy. Spend next hour going in circles about standards versus acceptance. Ends with her declaring, maybe we want fundamentally different things from life. Agree that maybe we do want different things. She packs overnight bag and announces she's staying with her sister temporarily. Says she needs space to think about whether this relationship is worth saving. Honestly feel relieved when door closes and apartment becomes quiet again. First time in months I can exist without someone monitoring my performance. Next few days feel strange but surprisingly peaceful. Can make coffee however I want without receiving technique critiques. Leave dishes in sink overnight without hearing lectures about cleanliness standards. Eat cereal directly from box while watching stupid comedy movies she always hated. Sleep through entire night without someone sighing disapprovingly at my breathing patterns. Week turns into 2 weeks with minimal communication. Vanessa texts occasionally about logistics like splitting utility bills and retrieving more clothes. Conversations are polite but emotionally distant, like talking to customer service representative. Realize I'm not missing her presence as much as I expected to. Miss having someone to talk to, but don't miss feeling judged constantly. 3 weeks after she moved out, receive long text message. Says she's been thinking extensively and discussing situation with friends. Concluded that we have fundamental incompatibilities that probably can't be resolved. Want different things from life and have different definitions of what success means. Suggests we make the separation permanent rather than dragging things out. Take about 10 minutes to write response agreeing with her assessment. Feel exhausted more than heartbroken, like recovering from long illness. Following month brings loneliness I wasn't prepared for. Not missing Vanessa specifically, but missing having another person around. Evenings stretch endlessly when you're used to sharing space with someone. Start browsing random internet forums and watching too much television. Fall into unhealthy pattern of staying up until 2 a.m. and struggling to wake up for work. Realize I need some kind of structure or purpose to fill empty time. Decide to try something online that might be productive, not dating websites, because that feels too complicated and premature. Discover language exchange platforms where people practice speaking different languages. Figure helping others with English might be a useful way to spend evenings. Browse through profiles of international students wanting conversation practice. Mostly college-age kids trying to improve pronunciation and vocabulary. Sign up thinking worst-case scenario. I waste time but help someone learn. First few conversations are pretty basic and awkward. Help student from Mexico. Practice job interview responses in English. Talk to guy from Brazil about differences between American and international movies. Sessions last maybe 30 minutes and cover safe, neutral topics. Weather patterns, food preferences, cultural differences between countries. Nothing too personal, but pleasant enough way to pass time. Start looking forward to these scheduled conversations. After a couple weeks, get matched with someone named Chan Yu from Beijing. Her profile says she studies translation at university and wants to improve spoken English. First conversation is predictably awkward since we're both nervous. She apologizes constantly for making grammar mistakes, and I'm rusty at explaining rules. But something about her approach feels different from other language partners. Asks thoughtful questions about why we phrase things certain ways instead of just memorizing. She's genuinely curious about language mechanics rather than just passing tests. Wants to understand cultural context behind idioms and expressions. Talk for almost full hour without realizing how much time passed. She thanks me repeatedly and asks if we can schedule another session. Agree because conversation was actually engaging, unlike some others I've had. Start chatting with Chan Yu 3 times per week on regular schedule. She's studying English literature and has specific questions about authors and cultural references. Find myself researching things I never thought about before to give better explanations. Why do Americans say break a leg instead of good luck before performances? What's the historical origin of phrases like the whole 9 yards or bite the bullet? Conversations gradually become less formal and more like regular friendly discussions. She tells me about her classes and professors while I mention random events from work. Unlike Vanessa, she seems genuinely interested when I describe printing shop experiences, asks follow-up questions about different paper types and printing techniques, wants to know about customer interactions and whether I enjoy the work. Refreshing to have someone listen without immediately suggesting how I could do better. Few weeks into regular conversations, she starts sending voice messages. Her accent is thick, but somehow charming, rather than difficult to understand. Apologizes for pronunciation mistakes, but I tell her she sounds perfectly clear. Encourage her to keep practicing because speaking is only way to improve naturally. start sending voice messages back instead of just text. Feels weird talking to phone at first, but becomes comfortable pretty quickly. She laughs at my terrible attempts to pronounce Chinese words correctly, teaches me basic greetings and common phrases with patient corrections. Probably butcher the pronunciation completely, but she never makes me feel stupid. Instead, encourages every small improvement, like teaching child to walk. Realize these daily conversations have become best part of my routine. Catch myself checking phone during work breaks to see if she sent new messages. First time in months, I feel like myself instead of some disappointing version someone else wanted. She starts sharing more personal details about her life and background. Tells me about growing up in smaller city before moving to Beijing for university. Describes how competitive her translation program is and pressure to succeed. Conversations evolve from structured language practice to genuine daily check-ins. Talk about random things that happen during our respective days. She tells me about difficult professors or interesting books she's currently reading. I share stories about weird customer requests or mechanical problems with printing equipment. Start having video calls on weekends when we both have more free time. First time seeing her face through video chat makes me unexpectedly nervous. She's prettier than I imagined, but more importantly seems completely comfortable talking. Her English has improved dramatically since we started these regular sessions. Feel proud knowing I contributed to her progress in some meaningful way. She comments that talking with native speaker has helped more than any classroom instruction. Months pass without me really noticing the time. Talking to Chan Yu has become natural routine that I look forward to every day. She sends good morning messages and I respond with brief updates from work. Have longer conversations in evenings, discussing movies we watched or news events. She teaches me about Chinese holidays and cultural traditions. I explain American customs that probably seem bizarre from outside perspective. One evening during regular call, she mentions her program includes international internship opportunities. Some advanced students get placed with companies in different countries for practical experience. Ask if she would be interested in something like that if chance arose. Says she would absolutely love to practice English in full immersion environment. Mentions always dreaming about visiting America to see what it's really like. Feel excited thinking about possibility of meeting in person someday, but also nervous because online relationships can be completely different face-to-face. Couple weeks later, she calls with major news about internship applications. Several American cities are available options, including one about 2 hours from where I live. Try not to get overly hopeful since these programs are extremely competitive, but can't help imagining what it would actually be like to meet her. She seems genuinely excited about the possibility, too. Says it would be incredible to finally practice English with native speakers in professional setting. Remind her that she's already been practicing with me for months now. She laughs and says that's totally different because I'm patient with her mistakes. Spring semester passes while she waits for internship program decisions. Keep our regular conversation schedule, but both of us obviously thinking about it. She mentions the application process during most of our talks. I encourage her and say any company would be extremely lucky to have her. Mean it completely because she's intelligent and hardworking and deserves good opportunities. Also, selfishly hope she gets placement somewhere geographically accessible to me. Have started looking forward to our conversations so much that meeting seems like natural progression. Early summer brings the news we've both been hoping for. She's been accepted for a 2-month internship with translation company 90 minutes from my city. We're both excited, but also nervous about transition from online to real life. She's never been to America before, and I've never met someone from internet relationship. Spend several weeks planning her arrival and discussing practical logistics. Offer to pick her up from airport, even though it means taking unpaid day off work. She accepts gratefully and says having familiar face there will make everything less overwhelming. Day of her arrival. I can't concentrate on anything productive. Leave for airport 3 hours early and spend time walking around terminal nervously. Check flight arrival status every few minutes, even though it's showing on time. When international passengers start emerging through customs, I scan every face. Recognize her immediately, even though she looks somehow different from video calls. Smaller and more delicate than I expected, but with same warm, genuine smile. She spots me at exact same moment and waves with obvious relief. Walking toward each other feels completely surreal after months of screen conversations. First few minutes are predictably awkward, since we're both processing the weirdness. She's exhausted from a 15-hour flight, and I'm nervous about making good first impression. Help her navigate luggage collection and guide her toward parking garage. She apologizes constantly for how terrible she looks after international travel. Tell her she looks perfectly fine and that jet lag is completely normal experience. Drive to her temporary corporate housing gives us time to talk without pressure. Conversation flows more easily than I anticipated, despite strangeness of situation. She comments enthusiastically on American landscape and asks questions about local geography, point out regional landmarks, and explain historical background of different areas. Feels natural, despite underlying weirdness of finally meeting internet friend. Spend following day helping her get oriented in city where she'll be working, show her public transportation routes, and help locate her company's office building. Grab lunch at a local restaurant where she tries American Chinese food for the first time. She laughs about how completely different it is from actual Chinese cuisine, curious about everything, and asks constant questions in genuinely interested way. Not annoying interrogation, but like someone who wants to understand new environment, realize how much I've missed having companion who enjoys exploring things together. Her first week of internship goes smoothly, according to our daily phone conversations. She's excited about translation projects and getting along well with American colleagues. Company assigned her to work on technical documentation, which matches her academic focus perfectly. Sounds challenging, but she seems energized by complexity rather than overwhelmed. Visit her that first weekend and meet some of her new co-workers at company social gathering. They're all impressed by her English fluency and mention how quickly she's adapted to office culture. Feel proud listening to people compliment her progress and professional competence. Know I played small but meaningful role in helping her prepare for this opportunity. She introduces me as her American friend who helped her practice conversation skills. Colleagues seem genuinely appreciative that I spent time helping international student. Weekends quickly become routine of exploring different areas around her temporary city. She wants to experience everything and see authentic American cultural activities. Take her to local festivals, hiking trails, art museums, whatever seems interesting or educational. She photographs things that seem completely mundane to me, but exotic to her. Fire hydrants, yellow school buses, drive-through restaurant windows, suburban architecture. Seeing familiar everyday stuff through her fresh perspective makes everything seem new and interesting again. Realize how much I had been just going through motions without really noticing my surroundings. Her enthusiasm for ordinary experiences reminds me to pay attention to details I'd stopped seeing. Her internship was originally supposed to last exactly 2 months, but company offers extension. They're impressed with quality of her work and have additional projects that match her skills. She's excited about professional opportunity, but also conflicted about eventually leaving. Discuss it during weekend trip to nearby state park with hiking trails. She says she's grown attached to this area and people she's met through work. Specifically mentions not wanting to say goodbye to me when program ends. Tell her I've been thinking exactly the same thing about our situation. Realize somewhere during these months, this relationship became much more than friendship. Final month of her extended internship passes much too quickly for both of us. Spend almost every weekend together and maintain daily phone conversations between visits. She improves her American driving skills and rents car for last few weeks. Gives her more independence, but also means she can visit my apartment more easily. Comes over several Saturday afternoons and we cook dinner together. Feels domestic and comfortable in a way that seems completely natural despite relative newness. 2 weeks before her scheduled return flight to China, we have serious conversation about future possibilities. Both acknowledge that our relationship has clearly developed far beyond simple friendship. Discuss practical challenges of trying to maintain romantic connection across different continents, time zone differences, cultural barriers, immigration complications, financial costs of travel, but also talk honestly about how much we've grown to care about each other over these months. She says her time in America has been some of the happiest months of her entire life. Tell her the same thing is true for me, and I can't imagine going back to life before meeting her. Her final week in America feels bittersweet and emotionally complicated. Company throws farewell party, and several coworkers exchange personal contact information. They encourage her to apply for permanent employment positions if she ever wants to return to America. She seems genuinely torn between excitement about continuing her education and sadness about leaving. Spend her last weekend helping pack belongings and organize items to ship back to China. Both of us avoid talking directly about timeline for seeing each other again because it feels too depressing. Drive her to airport on Monday morning, feeling like I'm losing something irreplaceable. Promise to maintain regular communication and discuss visiting China during my vacation time. She boards international flight back to Beijing, and I drive home to empty apartment. Weeks immediately after her departure are a difficult adjustment period. Try to maintain our regular video call schedule, but conversations feel different. Awkward because of time zone complications and emotional weight of missing each other. She's busy finishing final semester of degree program, and I'm back to regular work routine. Gradually find new communication rhythm, but both of us seem changed by experience. Conversations now include constant references to shared memories from her American visit. Also, much more discussion about missing each other and wishing geographic distance wasn't a factor. Start seriously researching options for visiting China during my next vacation period. Flights are expensive, but not impossible if I save money and plan ahead carefully. She gets excited when I mention looking at travel possibilities and offers to help plan itinerary. Fall semester proves demanding for her with thesis requirements and graduate job applications. I pick up extra hours at print shop to accumulate savings for potential international travel. Our video calls become slightly less frequent, but more emotionally meaningful when they happen. She shares regular updates about academic progress and post-graduation career planning. Tells me about job offers she's received from translation companies in Beijing and Shanghai. Also mentions possibility of applying for graduate school programs back in the United States. Encourage her to pursue whatever direction feels right for her long-term career goals, privately hoping she'll choose whichever option might involve returning to America eventually. Don't want to influence her decision based on our relationship, but obviously have preference. Winter brings completely unexpected opportunity that changes everything. She calls one evening with exciting news about fellowship programs she'd heard about. Prestigious American university has offered graduate position specifically for international students. Program designed for people with her exact academic background in translation and cultural studies. Would last 3 full years and include legal work authorization for entire duration. She's thrilled about academic opportunity, but also nervous about making such major life decision. Tell her it sounds like incredible chance to advance her career in ways that wouldn't be possible elsewhere. Try to be supportive and objective, without seeming too personally invested in outcome that would obviously benefit me. She appreciates my encouragement, but wants time to consider all implications carefully. Spend following weeks discussing pros and cons of accepting fellowship offer. She's torn between staying in China near family and pursuing international educational experience. Her parents are ultimately supportive, but naturally worried about their daughter living so far away. Remind her that she already proved she could succeed brilliantly in American academic environment. Also point out that advanced skills she would develop would benefit her career regardless of where she chooses to live afterward. Eventually, she decides to accept the fellowship position after extensive family discussions. We'll return to America in summer to begin graduate program when fall semester starts. Both of us are excited, but trying not to get overly optimistic about what this means for relationship. Months between her acceptance letter and scheduled return feel completely different from previous separation. Know she's coming back to America, and we'll have years together instead of just months. Both of us seem more confident about discussing serious future plans and possibilities. She finds apartment near university campus, and I help research neighborhoods and housing options remotely. Start making detailed lists of places we want to visit and things we want to do during her first weeks back. Feel like we're building toward something permanent and substantial instead of temporary. Her second arrival trip to America feels much less nerve-wracking than original meeting. Pick her up from same international airport, but emotional context is completely different. She seems more confident and comfortable navigating American cultural environment. Has brought thoughtful gifts for me, including specialty tea and traditional snacks from her hometown. Selling her into new apartment near campus takes most of the weekend. Help her buy furniture and set up utility services and internet connection. Whole process feels domestic and partnership-oriented in a way that seems completely natural. Her graduate program starts smoothly, and she adapts quickly to advanced academic expectations. Coursework is challenging but matches her intellectual interests and career goals perfectly. Begins conducting original research on cultural aspects of translation theory, which fascinates her. Meanwhile, I find myself becoming increasingly restless with print shop employment. Not because the job itself is particularly terrible, but because I've started thinking about bigger possibilities for my life. Watching her pursue ambitious academic and professional goals makes me question my own lack of clear direction. Bring up my career uncertainty during one of our regular dinner conversations. She listens carefully without immediately offering advice, but asks thoughtful questions about my interests. What aspects of current work do I actually enjoy and find satisfying? What would ideal employment look like if practical limitations weren't a major factor? Realize I've never seriously considered these fundamental questions about professional fulfillment. Vanessa had always focused on external markers of success rather than personal satisfaction and meaning. Qianyu seems much more interested in understanding what genuinely motivates me internally. Over following months, I start researching alternative career paths and educational opportunities. Look into community college programs for skill development and professional certification. She encourages me to pursue interests that seem genuinely engaging rather than just financially practical. Offers to help with application, paperwork, and essays when I decide on specific direction. Her belief in my potential feels authentic rather than conditional on achieving predetermined outcomes. Doesn't depend on me becoming some specific version of successful person. Just wants me to find work that provides genuine satisfaction and sense of purpose. Year into her graduate program, our relationship has settled into comfortable long-term routine. She spends most weekends at my apartment, or I visit her campus area, meet her international classmates and professors during department social events and academic conferences. They seem to accept me warmly, despite my having nothing in common with them educationally or professionally. She has integrated remarkably well into American academic social environment while maintaining her cultural identity. Watching her successfully navigate between different worlds continues to impress me. Seems effortless from outside, but I know it requires constant mental and emotional adjustment. Decide to start taking formal Chinese language classes at local community college. Want to better understand her cultural background and be able to communicate with her family. Also seriously considering possibility of visiting China with her during upcoming summer break. She becomes extremely excited about this idea and offers to plan comprehensive itinerary, including her hometown. Says her parents have been asking constant questions about me and are curious to meet in person. Feel nervous, but deeply honored that she wants to introduce me to her family. Represents level of seriousness about our relationship that feels significant and meaningful. Spring semester brings important discussions about my own future plans and decisions. She'll graduate with advanced degree in 1 more year and will need to make major choice about staying in America permanently or returning to China. Immigration status would be complicated if she wants to remain in United States long term. Start researching various options for international work opportunities and extended travel. Discover several programs for teaching English as foreign language in Chinese cities. Seems like realistic possibility for professional adventure while maintaining our relationship. Apply for multiple teaching positions with language schools in different Chinese metropolitan areas. Application process proves more complex and bureaucratic than I initially expected. Qianyu helps tremendously with paperwork translations and cultural context for interviews. Her genuine excitement about possibility of me living in China is encouraging and supportive. Says it would be absolutely amazing to show me her country from authentic insider perspective. Also mentions somewhat jokingly that having serious American boyfriend would definitely impress her traditional parents. Get accepted for position teaching conversational English at established language institute in Beijing. Program starts in fall, which aligns perfectly with Qianyu's graduation timeline from American University. Spend entire summer preparing for major international move and visiting her family in China for first time. Trip proves both incredible and completely overwhelming experience simultaneously. Her parents are remarkably welcoming despite significant language barriers between us. They arrange elaborate multi-course dinners and extensive sightseeing tours of historical locations. Can tell they're carefully evaluating me as potential long-term romantic partner for their only daughter. Feel considerable pressure to make positive impression, but try to remain authentic rather than performing. Her father asks detailed questions about my career plans and financial stability through Qianyu's translation. Her mother focuses more on my character and how I treat their daughter with respect. Her hometown is significantly smaller than Beijing, but still much larger than anywhere I've ever lived. Everything feels foreign and exciting, but also occasionally overwhelming. She serves as patient translator and cultural guide for an entire 3-week visit. Watch her interact naturally with childhood friends and extended family members. Seeing her in original cultural environment helps me understand her personality and values much better. Realize her quiet confidence comes from strong family foundation rather than just successful adaptation to American circumstances. Understand now how much inner strength it must have taken for her to succeed in completely foreign educational system. Gain tremendous respect for her resilience and determination to build international career. Returning to America after experiencing authentic Chinese culture firsthand feels strange and disorienting. Begin seeing my own country through somewhat outsider perspective for first time. Also feel much more confident about decision to move to Beijing permanently. Have concrete, realistic sense of what daily life there might actually be like. Qian Yu is absolutely thrilled that I connected so well with her family and cultural background, says her parents gave their complete approval, which is extremely important to her traditional upbringing. Start making serious practical preparations for major international life change. Final months before departure involve systematically closing down my established American life. Give official notice at print shop after working there for several years. Sell most furniture and household possessions that aren't worth cost of international shipping. Realize how few material objects actually matter when making fundamental life transition. Most important things are relationships and shared experiences rather than accumulated stuff. Pack entire life into 2 large suitcases and several shipping boxes. Qian Yu successfully defends graduate thesis and graduates with highest academic honors. Several professors strongly encourage her to continue with doctoral studies at same university, but she has firmly decided to return to China and accept position with international consulting company. Received job offer from prestigious firm that specializes in cross-cultural business communication. Represents perfect match for her academic background combined with practical American work experience. We'll both be starting completely new life chapters in Beijing at exactly same time. Last week in America feels emotionally complex mixture of excitement and nostalgia. Spend time revisiting locations that became meaningful during our relationship development. Restaurant where we shared first meal together after her original arrival. State park where we had serious conversations about future possibilities. University campus where she studied and gained confidence in American environment. Each place holds specific memories that contributed to our deepening connection over time. Feel genuinely grateful for random circumstances and choices that brought us together. Flight from America to Beijing is extremely long, but gives me hours to process magnitude of decision. Leaving behind familiar, comfortable life to build something entirely new with person I met through random internet connection. Seems completely crazy when described in those terms, but feels absolutely natural and right. Qian Yu meets me at Beijing International Airport looking excited and slightly nervous. She has spent weeks preparing for my arrival and cultural transition process. Sold my crap, left the print shop, packed my life in 2 bags, moved to China to be with her. Shit's good now. Never thought I'd actually be this happy.